Good afternoon, everyone. This is co-host Barry Asman here, together with
B-Fox.
and we are just waiting for the man, Dave Steele, the blind poet. So everyone just bear with us a moment while we bring in Mr. Steele. And here he comes. There he is. Dave.
There we go.
Where's he at?
He's right there.
Mr. Steele, what's happening?
He's right there in the UK.
Absolutely.
What's happening?
Another Wednesday. Good to be here, guys.
Another Wednesday. Incredible to be here. We are coming to you from the studio. We've got some guests with us here this afternoon who are coming to us live from other areas of the office. And
I'm pretty sure I saw Sedona Dave.
Sedona Dave is there.
What's up?
Sedona Dave is there. And how are things doing on your side across the pond?
Yeah, good. I was just checking out the numbers then that we've got, seeing who we've got on the call and some very familiar faces and some new ones as well. So it's great that every week people are still coming back to spend an hour with us and chat about all things kind of low vision.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask my colleague Steven to send us a quick message through the chat to make sure everything is coming through as we like it. But from what I understand, it sounds like we are good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. We have an incredible setup. I wish you were here to see what's taking place here in the studio. It's incredible. We've got a lot of equipment. We have a lot of talented individuals here, and there's been a lot of filming going on in the last 24 hours.
I've heard on the grapevine that is the case, and very, very exciting.
It is. It is very exciting. It is very exciting. And again, we wish you were here. But I am certain that hopefully in the next, maybe the next couple months, you think it'll be good. Fingers
crossed. Yeah, there's some stuff going on at the moment. I hear the UK and the States are kind of trialing these kind of health passports where someone takes a test just before flying. They get the results through pretty quick and everyone's clear and we're all good. So that seems to be, I think, the way that they're going to do it. So I'm ready to go. The bags are packed.
The bags are packed and we're ready to go.
My fingers are crossed, brother.
It's funny actually, because we've been talking about it over the last few weeks. It's next Tuesday will be a year to the day since I flew out last year for the start of the East Coast book tour.
Wow, and I know.
So lots of memories next week are going to be popping up, which is going to be really cool to see, and quite sad at the same time for various reasons. But it's going to be really nice.
Yeah, it's. I'm just renaming Dave here. I'm renamed into Sedona Dave versus B Fox. So.
Oh, is he on B's link? Is he?
Yes.
Are
you handing out the link to unauthorized users?
That's so funny. Yeah, I just forwarded my email to these guys. They need to register themselves.
That's right.
Oh, I didn't realize it's a specific link.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I'm sitting right here. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
We got
another one coming in right now. So we're going to, I believe that is Orly. We're going to rename her Orly as well.
Dave Steele, you have so many fans, and I got to tell you something. We are waiting for you every single day. These folks want to hear your poems, but we have an office full of folks out here. The Working Well Blind crew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys and everyone that's there and all the team that's coming together. We've got some great people there that just seems to be adding more and more as the weeks go by.
Yes. And I want to give a special shout out. I don't see him here on the live stream just yet. I want to give a special shout out to Charlie Collins.
What's up, Charlie?
The Charlie Collins.
The Charlie Collins, the one and only Charlie Collins, is here, is present in Timonium, Maryland with us. So, yeah, awesome. Incredible stuff. So, before we get into things here, before we hear those incredible words from Dave, I want to just say a couple things, the usual housekeeping. Again, it's great to see everyone here. I want to thank everyone who reached out to myself or to B or to Dave to be able to join this hour of TM Poetry. The community is growing leaps and bounds every single week, and we appreciate your continued support. And it's great to see so many new faces here. So I want to continue and just say thank you from the bottom of my heart, from you, on behalf of you, Dave, and B as well. And we're really enjoying this, and we're just honored to be here together with you. So there are a couple ways that you can, hey, there's Charlie. There are a couple ways, hey, Orly, there are a couple ways you can get our attention. So if this is your first time, you can click on raise my hand. There's a button that says raise my hand. I think it says raise my hand. Yeah, raise my hand. And when you raise your hand, I see Travis already has his hand up. I think Travis comes in with his hand raised up from the start.
Yeah.
We love it,
Walks in like
Travis.
that.
We love it. We love it. So you can, again, raise your hand, and that will let us know that you want to join the conversation. And we will do our best to bring you in at an appropriate time. And we look forward to doing that. When you join the conversation, we encourage you to please leave your video on. If you're feeling shy for whatever reason, you don't want to have the video on, that's also fine. We want you to be comfortable and to be able to do what's best for you. So last resort, we'll take audio only. And of course, you can always put information through the chat and send it also through the Q&A. So I am constantly monitoring. If you see me looking over here, I am paying attention, but I'm also trying to pay attention to you and make sure that we are providing and communicating with everyone. So Dave, take it away.
Okay, so I always like to open up with a new poem for those people that are kind of new to the call. And this week, I want to do things slightly different. This poem that I wrote a few days ago is going to really kind of allude to and talk about the topic that I really want to get into tonight and discuss. So I know you guys, Barry and Ben, you always like to kind of take notes and pluck some things out of the poem.
Pens and paper right here, ready to go.
Absolutely. So everyone out there listening, I'm sure you guys are going to be able to relate to this, and then we'll get into this topic a lot further. And it goes like this. Step inside my shoes, peruse the views of how I see. There's many different shades of how my vision affects me. It's not all black and white, and it's not seeing well or not. It's impossible to tell just how little left I've got. Invisible disability. I constantly adjust. These eyes of mine can let me down, but in my cane I trust. But when I'm out, a stranger's doubt is far too commonplace. They think they know the blindness from the look upon my face. These misconceptions make me feel like I should stay home more. They keep so many people just like me behind our doors. For I can read a text, but still I need to use my cane. There's different shades of blindness that we simply must explain. But there will come a time that for awareness there's no need, when those with disabilities have equal chance to succeed. So if this blind poet's message you can feel in here, relate, it's time to tell the world it's important. Let's not wait.
Wow. That was, you know, every piece of poetry that comes out, every word that flows from your mouth, there's so much meaning. There's so much, I don't want to, is it the word honesty? Is that a good word? There's so much feeling, emotions, and, you know, there's, I just want to make sure I heard this correctly. Equal chance to succeed. Is that
absolutely
is that equal chance? That to me, I mean, there's a lot of things that stood out here: filling shoes, constantly adjusting, being able to read a text but still use your mobility cane. But I think here, the big words for me, those big 4 words: equal chance to succeed.
Powerful.
Very, very powerful.
Insightful. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that from your heart, brother.
Yeah. So the topic tonight I really want to get into, and we've kind of skated over it the past weeks, but I've been having a lot of conversations with people this week who are all kind of feeling the same thing. And a lot of it is down to the way the world is at the moment. And I really want to get into that. And this one, we've had some special guests over the last few weeks, and we've got another great special guest next week. But this week, I sent a message to B earlier, and I said, really, this week I want B to play a big part and B to almost be my special guest as such, because you being physically there and you being like myself almost blind, you are going to relate to a lot of these subjects firsthand that we're talking about tonight. So those are the many misconceptions that are out there about the different shades of low vision.
Yes.
The way people like ourselves can be judged in public for using mobility aids, for using our phones, and the things that are said to us, not just by strangers, but in a lot of cases by people that are supposed to be close to us as well.
Oh, yes,
loved ones and
yes.
family. I've spoke to so many people. I put a thing, you may have seen it yourself on my Facebook today, about what are the things that people have said to you when about not believing your low vision or blindness, and hearing
Yes.
the range of different things that people have said, which I have certainly had said to me on quite a number of occasions. It is something that I think this is the place to talk about it. The other thing I want to kind of touch on, which sort of links into to the same kind of feelings, is with the way the world is today. And we've talked about, as I said in previous weeks, how it is. Everyone's feeling a bit isolated with the constant changing of regulations with COVID, especially here in the UK, where there is where it's on the rise again, and Manchester has just been put into the highest tier of restrictions as of midnight tonight. All the bars close again, and lots of things shutting down, and we're not allowed to see people inside or outside of our bubbles. A good friend of mine, actually, who might be on the call tonight, I don't know if she is or not, I haven't looked yet, who is from America, but she's been over here and met me a couple of times, and with her husband, Chris. She said to me today, sometimes you just picked out some lines then from the poems, and they kind of, certain lines will resonate with you. This friend of mine said today, this was her words: "My eyes won't wait for the pandemic." Yeah. My eyes won't wait for the pandemic. And what she means by that, if I need to just explain it slightly more, is many of us who have conditions like RP are slowly going blind, or losing our sight over a period of time. We have dips, and every now and again it goes slowly, and then all of a sudden it takes a big dip. But for those of us that are kind of at the end, similar to myself, where it's kind of, you're almost at the end of being able to see faces clearly and everything else, that final stage, when the world is on pause due to the pandemic and you're not able to travel, see friends, be with family, be with loved ones, experience things that you would normally do in your day-to-day lives, and you miss all these things that the average person takes for granted, but people with disabilities cherish more. The added effects of a pandemic and what's going on with the world at the moment can really have a really dramatic effect on people. And I've certainly been feeling that way recently. And I know many others that I've been speaking to have been feeling that as well. And those words, when she said to me, "My eyes won't wait for the pandemic," is something that I've been thinking a lot about recently. I want to make the most of every day of the sight that I have left. This is not to say that my life is anywhere near over when my sight is gone. It's just different. You still do amazing things. I speak to people who have had no vision from birth and who have lost sight many years ago in an instant, who live amazing full lives, and that's not taking it away from that one little bit. But what I'm saying is, as far as visual memories and things like that, when your life is on pause due to a pandemic, that is something a lot of us are kind of feeling at the moment. And I think, Ben, can you kind of relate to that?
Yeah, I will. And I'll thank you all to understand it here too, as I do, because I love you so much, Dave. And this is in a way, a surreal experience for me, because I'm hearing you, live. I've met you in person. I've got your signed books. for heaven's sakes, my man Barry even had these bath mats printed up with your name on them, and he gave one to the Working Well Blind House. I'm just telling you.
I heard they needed a bath mat. I was like, you need a bath mat?
As
I
I'm
think
hearing
I
you
can
say
help
these,
you out there.
and Barry's the man. This man, he merchandising worldwide.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you though, you're hitting it so nail on the head. And just for everybody listening to us that might not know, the way we first ever, interacted is I reached out to you as you being the blind poet who is going blind with the same eye condition as I've got. RP Alliance. Yes, shout out to all of our friends and family in the blindness community. I reached
Nice
out to
thumbs
you.
up, Dave.
I reached out to you and I said, your poetry touches my heart. And I asked you a couple things, but specifically, would you one day write a poem for the Almost Blind webpage? And only did I know, little did I know, if only I could have known, little did I know we'd be hanging out. Thank you. Thank you for all you do. I'd love to answer that question. And I want to tell you what happened inside of me. And I don't know if you saw me squirm as I tried to, I don't know.
I think we need a box of tissues here.
For some reason, tried to hold back the tide of emotion that welled up in me, and my body just felt weird about it to hold it back. So here it goes. Here it goes, brother.
This is the place for it, mate.
Yeah. And it happened for two reasons, though. Like, number one, of course, I go, whoa, I feel you, brother, like big time. Like, I hear what you're saying, and personally. And then secondly, that you and I together have discussed different people's, not names even, but just different people's stories that have sent us messages, just wow, and where they're at in their world. And specifically you sharing stories about things that have happened in your life, beautiful stories of people's lives have been touched by your poetry, and my life is one of those lives. So because of that, and when you talked about the eyes not having time to wait, all that I could think of is that these are people that are not stories out there. They're our family. They're our community. They're our friends. And so here's some waterworks, y'all. I love you guys. So proud to be part of this team.
It's an incredible team.
But I still want to answer that. And here we go.
Okay.
So I have RP. But when I found out I have RP, it's because at 18, when I thought I was going to be doing all sorts of things using my eyes and traveling around the world and using my eyes and looking through cameras with my eyes and doing graphic design and video editing with my eyes, they said I had detached retinas in both eyes, went blind in one eye, saved the right eye's retina. And they said, you've got these really thin retinas because of an eye condition. We're not quite ready to diagnose yet, but keep coming back. And I never went back. And I did a couple of times for a couple of surgeries I had to have. But I got my eye contacts in other countries, so they wouldn't take my driver's license. I apologize to everybody that I put in danger on the road. Spoiler alert, nobody ever got injured. Moving on. I don't drive anymore. I haven't for years. But what happened to me, though, is it wasn't COVID that was like looming over me, but I felt like there was all these things. And when I'm not going to be able to see anymore, that my life would be done. I really believe that, Dave. I really, truly believe that. And instead of ever thinking about picking up even a simple book or even typing in a YouTube search about blindness, I had a grandfather that I watched go solely blind. And he was legally blind when I was born. You know what I mean? It's like, it was nutty. This guy was doing all these things and I didn't understand that he was blind because I never knew that legal blindness was actually blind. I just figured blindness meant, and I'm getting to my point of answering question directly, like, what does that mean to me? The different shades of blindness, and that it might be different from day to day. And I especially love, Dave, and I just want to just touch base on this, what you said about our families who are loved ones. And it's not that I expect anybody to know about what's happened with my eyes, but I don't want to tell anybody I love bad news. And I'd love to call you and tell you my eyes are getting better. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to call you, Dave, I love you. I don't want to call you and tell you my eyes are getting worse. I will call you, and I do tell you because you're the guy that I call to tell that type of stuff, and I love you from the heart for that.
You need to tell me more.
Brother, I will actually. And I got to tell you.
You do. You need to tell me more.
Because look, you got me all, you didn't get me all blubbering, but I'm blubbering here because it's so raw to me, because it's real. And
but don't forget what you're feeling and what you're doing right now. It's a sign of strength. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. Being able to talk about it. I put a thing out, and this was the thing that sparked the whole thing for me thinking about this. Was I put a post out, a little short post saying that being able to talk about your weaknesses and your fears, your deepest weaknesses and fears, encourages other people to do so, and that is the catalyst to healing. Right. And that is why I write, and that is why you opening up more and more as the weeks go on is so important. And you know, you can do it, and it's a sign of being brave. Sign of strength.
I'll tell you one thing. We've got a lot of brave souls here in this office.
Yeah,
and a lot of brave souls
I know that.
out there today on this call. So I want to congratulate everyone for being so brave.
You know, Barry, we've got a powerful team. And Dave, you're the greatest connector of this team. Truly are.
Well, he's part of the team. He's just on the other side of the pond today.
Yeah, I do what I can from here.
So there isn't a moment that when any one of us here in the office goes by through office to office, through the halls here, your photos are there. So
I know.
You are always with us. Oh, look at that photo up there.
But yeah,
did somebody show a photo?
There's a picture of Lanny.
Many people are, you know, I'm sure out there are relating to what we're talking about right now. And those feelings that you're talking about, Ben, you know, will only encourage other people to talk more. And you know, a great place to start is to talk to each other. And you know, and something like RP is just so difficult to understand. It's difficult for us to understand because so many different things affect our sight and the way we see. You know, 1 minute I can see something that's far away, and next minute I'm looking. You know, like for example, yesterday we took the kids out after school. They were supposed to be going kickboxing last night, Austin and Louis, but due to the way things are here, and someone had tested positive, it had been in the hall where they do kickboxing. They had to do a deep clean on the hall and close it down and stop. That's Christopher, my guide dog's here. Come here, Chris. And
we have Regan. I want to say hello to Regan. Guide dog Regan is in the house.
Can we see Chris over there in a second? There he is. And my light's gone out. Just let me sort my light out a second. I don't know why it does that.
Hey, Regan's in the house.
That's right.
Hi.
Hey, Regan.
There.
I wonder if Christopher and Regan can connect up.
They would be the best of friends.
That would be a nice long distance relationship, Christopher and Regan.
Hang on a second. What's going on with my light?
Dave E, I hope you don't mind that we've tagged you as Sedona Dave for this call, because I want to be able to make sure we know which Dave we're communicating with.
Absolutely.
That's so awesome. Thank you all about it.
Yeah, so I was just saying we went out playing football last night, and you know, so I'm playing football with the kids, and it's quite, you know, it's not bright, it's kind of dull, cloudy, so which is perfect weather for me at the moment because I can't deal with any sort of light. And you know, 1 minute I'm like, you've got a football, soccer as you call it in the States, goal, and I'm doing a thing with the kids where we're so many yards out and I'm hitting the ball, and we're trying to hit the crossbar, the bar that goes along the top of the goal. And I'm trying to bounce the ball off the crossbar, and I'm able to hit the ball and hit the crossbar and hit really good shots. But then the ball comes back to me, and I'm having to get my sons to describe where the ball is right next to me because I can't see it. But for anyone kind of looking at that, you know, would go, this guy's not blind. He's hitting a crossbar from like 20 yards out, 20, 30 yards out. How can he be blind? He surely can't have a cane or a guide dog. He's able to do that. Right. But then I can't see the ball when it's right next to me, or, you know, I turn around and I've got no spatial awareness. So it's very difficult for people to understand.
Yes.
But if you explain to people that it's complicated and there are so many different variants, that's not difficult to understand, isn't it? If someone just understands the concept that sight loss and low vision and these conditions like this are very, very complicated, and your eyes are constantly adjusting and are affected, and we don't see one particular way all the time, then they don't have to question everything. And I think that's what we need more education about. But I want to put the question out there that I put onto Facebook today. And I'll ask this of Dave and Ollie and anyone else that's out there watching. What are the things that have been said to you where people have, tried to question your low vision? Now, I think, Dave, we answered this last week, didn't we? And you've not really had many. I remember rightly, but I want to put it to other people that are out there. You don't have to come on the call if you don't want to, but we'd like you to. So put your hand up if you want to come in and speak on this subject. If you want to type into the Q&A, what your experiences have been, then please do that.
I'm gonna bring.
I've got one quick question.
I'll bring
for Dave.
Before you go on that question, I'm gonna bring Lisa in.
Can I ask this question real quick, Dave?
Yeah, I'm here.
So, Dave, when you were trying to kick, like if somebody came up, just a quick question, you're trying to kick that ball and your son helped you set that up and you make that accomplishment, you make that goal and it feels good. If someone were to question you about that, like how would you respond to that? Like, and because I'm curious about that. And if it's happened to me in the past and because it didn't go well, I decided not to go out for a while. I'm just super curious. Yeah. Like how does that go right? Tell me a little bit about an experience that's gone right for you.
It depends really. It depends on the person and how, what type of person they are and how open they are to actually understanding. It doesn't matter what we do. Someone actually put it on the comments before saying, there's always going to be stupid people out there who just don't get it no matter how many times you explain, and are going to say nasty, horrible things. That are going to hurt us and isolate certain people. There's certain days where I can take it and it's like water off a duck's back to me, but then there's other days where it makes me cry. It upsets me and I get frustrated and angry and sad and every emotion you can think of. Right. Today's one of those days.
So I've unmuted Lisa, and I've also unmuted, I'm trying to unmute Charlie as well, but go ahead, Lisa. Take it away, Lisa.
Hi, can you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear. How are you?
Good, I'm great. I can't get the video to go on. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, but anyway. So this happens, of course, like it does to all of us so often. But this week, especially, it's happened in the last month at healthcare providers, which always really flabbergasts me because I assume that people who are working in healthcare are going to be more empathic about low vision or more understanding. But just this week, I was going to my orthopedic surgeon appointment, went into the lobby, couldn't discern where the elevators were, and there were a couple security guards in the front door. And I said to one of them, can you tell me where the elevators are? Had my white mobility cane, sunglasses on, and she said, it's over there. And I said in what I think was a very calm and considerate voice, for someone with low vision, that kind of description doesn't help me. Can you be more specific about where I need to go?
Right.
And the other guard said to me,
go straight, right? Go straight where?
The other guard said to me, well, you don't talk to her like that. She's trying to help you. And I said, but she really wasn't helping me. And of course, my reaction is to cry, even whether it's anger or sadness or whatever. And I said, so then I just started to walk away. And she said to the other gentleman, well, she can see well enough.
Oh,
I was, my breath was taken away because, of course, my first reaction was to turn around and try to even explain to her how little I do see and what that means to hear someone say something like that. On the other hand, much like what Dave said, there are going to be people who are never going to understand. And I felt like at that moment, I wanted to stay the better person and I had to just keep moving. I couldn't go back and
Lisa, do you not find though at the moment? I mean, there's so many people out there that have experienced stuff like that and are experiencing things like that at the moment. Do you not think though, at the moment when it happens, it has even more of an impact on others because of the way things are, and it's a battle to just sort of go, I'll just stay home.
Yeah.
I'll just stay home. Like I won't go out. It's another excuse. And it's, I'm feeling it so much at the moment. I wrote a piece today about it, and so many people on my Facebook page related to what I wrote about how I'm feeling at the moment. And I think it's so important that we talk about it because it's the only way we kind of process it by talking to others and relating and getting past it and encouraging each other because we need to.
And my journey
it's like another lock on the door.
Yeah, my journey to that appointment too had been just, one trial. I walk there and it's about a mile and a half from our house and lots of construction. So I'm crossing a lot of roads that I don't usually have to cross. And so it's just, the whole thing. And then of course I've got my mask on, so my vision is hindered even more and my glass, whatever. But it just was so glaringly obvious also that in addition to this happening, even in the best of times, people say things like that sometimes, but that so many people are at their wits' end just in general about their life. I mean, I went upstairs and I was crying when I checked in at the reception desk and I said, I'm sorry, I had a difficult experience with the person, a guard downstairs. And she said, well, some of these people who are now guards are actually people who've been displaced and we're just trying to get them some hours, so there's always a lot to this story. It didn't take away from the cruelty of what the woman said, but it did allow me to say, I have no idea what her backstory is. She might have lost her job. She's just getting these hours as a security guard when she might really be a radiology tech. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the backstory.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true, Lisa. I often think things like that. I think a couple of days ago we went to a McDonald's drive-through to pick up a Happy Meal for my youngest Austin on the way home because we didn't have time for dinner, and my wife Amy's very big on kind of like politeness and customer service and everything else. She one thing she can't abide is rude people. And we went into the drive-through, and the person on the taking the order over the microphone, the drive-through was quite curt and quite rude and short. And I just remember like thinking to myself, you just don't know if that person's having a bad day for whatever reason. Maybe they've had a death in the family, or it's very it's very difficult to judge. But on the flip side of that, sometimes it just affects us, and that's human nature. For it to upset us and make us cross, or make us sad, or make it's just it's a tough one to take. With regards to the other question that I was kind of talking about, Lisa, tonight, and I wonder if you'd be kind enough to answer this from your perspective. Have you had experiences where people that friends, family, have kind of made those presumptions as well about your low vision?
Yeah, I would have to say most. I can't really think of a specific. I feel so fortunate that my group of friends and family, if anything, sometimes overcompensate a bit. Like are extra protective if I'm walking with someone. And I appreciate that they're letting me know things, that are coming up. I have not really encountered in what I would consider people that are important to me and in my close group of friends, saying or doing things like that. But I've also worked really hard at educating them about what I'm going through. And your poems have helped a lot with that, Dave, honestly, and sharing those with them, because it's been able to put into words some of the things I've not been able to articulate as well. And I know, Barry said that, lots of people have, B Fox has said that.
Let me tell you something. Sorry, Lisa, let me tell you something. Obviously I speak to a lot of people all over the world. I want to give you one of many examples that I've had, which is sort of brings up the sort of things some people go through. I remember speaking to a lady, not mentioning any names whatsoever, not on the call, so I can talk, but I'm not going to mention any names. A couple of years ago now, who had messaged me talking about mobility canes and talking about going through that whole acceptance of using it in public. That we all kind of go through, getting comfy with our canes and everything else. And she was saying to me, she was in, I would say she was in her 60s, mid to late 60s, this lady. And she was saying that she'd been so reliant on her husband for getting around, but it was really having an effect on her mental health. And she'd taken mobility training years back, but then just like not used a cane. And she got to a stage where she wanted to apply for more training and start using a cane again. And her husband was, because he felt almost threatened
Because she was more independent. Yeah.
by the independence of the
Yes.
cane,
Yeah.
that when she was trying to use it in his presence, he was kicking the cane away.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I've
that's
not
just
experienced that. Yeah.
that's just one example of things that people go through. And there's a lot, there's a lot of times where it is people that are really close to us, where this stuff's happening, and that is just, the ones that hurt the most.
Wow. Yeah.
Lisa,
Fortunately. Yeah.
Lisa, it's so good to hear from you. We have a long line up here, so
Okay.
I gotta
Thank you.
keep it moving, but always good to hear your voice.
Can I just do one thing before we move on to the next person
Of course.
quickly? I just want to read a poem. I know Lisa's still listening.
She's still here. I didn't send her anywhere.
Yeah, okay. I just want to read this poem to I always like reading to the first kind of caller. So I see if you guys can kind of relate to this. So much I want to tell you, so much you still don't know. The hidden signs of eyes decline as fate as vision go. Frustrated by the things that others take within their stride, this door's a little harder to open and step outside. I feel a little lost at times, my purpose in a haze. I'm tired of the adjusting to the end of seeing days, but all of this is muffled by the voice that says don't quit. Inspired by our children's eyes, the fire in me's lit. And though all this is draining, my remaining vision strong. I'm reaching for my dreams, it seems my victory won't be long. So if you see me stumble, I won't tumble to that place. For no matter what tomorrow brings, I'm capable to face.
Excellent. Thank you, Dave.
Wow.
You're welcome, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm sending you back.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Take care. Hope you're feeling good.
Yes, I am. Thanks.
Good.
Thank you.
Excellent. So while I bring Charlie, your mic is open, Charlie.
Okay, you can hear me?
We can hear you. We just can't see you.
Well, I don't know how to help you there.
Hey, Charlie, how you doing?
I'm doing well. This is great. And thank you so much for both poems. And a quick little story. I have 4 sisters and I have a brother, and 4 out of 6 of us all diagnosed with juvenile macular Stargardt.
Yep.
So I'm now a full-blown macular degenerate. And I been legally blind 40 years. So here's one of my stories. It's quick. I'm sitting with my legally blind sister and I asked her, hey, where is I don't remember what it was. And she's like, it's over there. I'm like, over there means something to you, but it doesn't mean anything to me because you put it there. She's like, oh, stop whining. It's over there. So, I think that's funny because even me, as a legally blind person, when my sister asks me at times where I might forget and say, it's on the counter. On the counter where? Oh, it's over by the phone on the counter. Oh. So I could do that. And another thing too, I thought the first poem, when you read it, it was soulful. I heard soulness coming out of there. And I understand the ups and downs at times. I understand that we don't see with our eyes, we see with our brains. Yeah. And everyone outside of us that doesn't have an eye disease, they only see with their eyes. They have no idea they're seeing with their brain. Mm-hmm. And they live in a visual world and everything is processed that way. And that is not the world I live in, I work really hard to not fall into that bondage, and it is bondage.
Such a good point.
You know, that the bondage I've created, it's bondage of self. And there are days I am 100% relieved of the bondage of self the entire time. And there are days, here it is. And, you know, so I just wanted to touch on that and say I appreciate it, because that's been my solution, is teaching others, working with others, working while blind, being around. The past 2 days, I've been around all different types of low vision and blindness. And I haven't had a thought my life sucks because of it. I haven't had a thought. I have Dave helping me do something. Ben's helping over here. We come together as a team. And vision loss is not discussed throughout the day. It's because we have a goal. We have a mission. We are working together and working while blind.
That is 100% accurate. It is a true statement. I am proud to be part of it. And again, no one, I don't think I've ever heard anyone here in the office say, you know what, my sight's not good today or whatever reason, you know, let's hold off on this today. You can't do it. Not
Can I
one. I've
just say
never heard
something?
that. Never heard that.
When I came out and met Ben for the first time at the beginning of January at the Unblinded event,
Yeah.
I remember meeting Stephanie McCoy from Bold Blind Beauty, which I'm sure a lot of people out there will know. And there was a couple of friends of hers, Cheryl, and a couple of other people who are friends of hers who I've known for quite a while, and they've known me kind of online. And I remember having this conversation with one of them at the event, and we were talking away about stuff, and she turned around, she said to me, and I love questions like this. She said, "You're not how I imagine you'd be." And I went, "Oh, okay." I said, "I've got to ask." I said, because that's just leading to a whole big question. I said, "How did you imagine me to be?"
Right.
And she said, "I imagine you to be really serious because of my poetry, because of the stuff that I talk about. But actually, you know, me as a person, and when, you know, we're together, as you rightly said there, and as Charlie rightly said, you know, when we naturally don't all sit and talk about, you know, stuff like this all the time.
No.
It's a riot when we're together hanging out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it should be, as it should be.
Yeah.
It's still important to talk about stuff like this on in places like this, on occasions like this, because of the impact that it makes and what it does. But you know, none of these conversations that we're having, none of this poetry is all doom and gloom. There's always positives in it, but it's, you know, it's that thing right at the beginning that we talked about. It's about opening up and talking about things, and it's great strength in being able to talk about your weaknesses.
Yeah,
and that is what it's about. It doesn't mean that it's all doom and gloom and that's how, you know, life is, whatever. But these are the things that we need to talk about. And if we can't talk about it with each other, where else can we? The conversation starts here.
Absolutely. I want to bring in Nina. Nina is in the house right now.
Nina. Oh, brilliant.
Hi.
Hey, Nina. I'm so glad you're on the call. So
trying to balance out the
we're going stateside.
Exactly.
Yeah, we need people over this side.
So Nina's actually in Manchester.
Oh wow.
Yep, fellow Mancunian.
She is a fellow Mancunian. So I always do this with new people on the call, Nina. Can you tell Barry and B Fox and about where we met, how we met, and kind of how it's gone from there?
Okay. We met at a charity event for Henshaws, a local sight loss charity in Manchester. Was it Dinner in the Dark, Dave?
It was Dinner in the Dark, yes.
Yeah. And we were sat on the same. Were we sat on the same? No, we weren't sat on the same table. Dave was reading his poems at the event, and I was at a table with my family. And afterwards, absolutely.
And your husband came up to me at the bar afterwards.
Well, yes.
We had a chat.
Yeah, because it was the first time that I'd heard Dave's poems, and I was crying at the table, and my family were crying. So my hubby went over and was like,
I hear that.
Just want to say, like, yeah.
Nina, can you just tell everyone a little bit about, you know, your low vision sight loss, how that came about, and your story?
Yeah, sure. So I was 2 years old. I wasn't born with a sight condition. I was 2 and I caught the flu virus. The flu virus attacked my eyes and then left me with lots of different problems. The closest they got to it was chronic uveitis and cataracts. After 28 years of corneal grafts, lens transplant, cataracts removal, I had my first accident at work where I lost my right eye.
Oh,
Something fell on me and it burst the eyeball. They couldn't save it. And then 12 years later, I had an accident at home where I bent over, and I think it was down to really the lack of, the depth perception with having the artificial right eye, plus rushing, not paying attention. And I bent down to get something out of my bag and basically headbutted the corner of a TV, and then that burst a hole in the left eye, and 95% of the retina came out of it. So I don't have any vision now at all. I have a little tiny bit of light perception in the left eye, so I can kind of tell if the lights are on and I'm outside, but that's it. So after a lifetime of ups and downs with my sight, having corneal grafts, when your cornea doesn't work, it leaves you with very foggy and hazy vision. I was very short-sighted as well, used magnification all of my life. So yeah, having ups and downs with the surgeries. I think I had about 6 in total. And then when I had surgery in my right eye, when I was 26, it was a successful surgery after a trial in London, and I could read a newspaper for the first time without a magnifier.
Wow.
So it went really well, and they were expecting to do the left eye, but kind of fate took a turn and didn't want me to be sighted. It wanted me to be blind, which is great. Like now I don't think I'd be any other way. I think this is who I was meant to be. Like I think the universe wants me to be a blind person.
But that's a process, though, isn't it? As well, coming to kind of terms with that.
Definitely,
We
yeah.
take steps forward and we take steps backwards, and
yeah, I still have bad days and go,
absolutely.
oh my God, I can't believe I'm in this situation. But then I have good days. Today's a good day. So
but
yeah.
you've kind of taken a step into our world with regards to trying to support people and help people out there yourself, haven't you? You started your own support group, which I was there for the first meeting of.
Congratulations!
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
That's cool.
And you're doing lots of things. Can you kind of tell everyone out there what you've been doing to get yourself out there?
So most of my life, I sometimes I feel it's upsetting to say sometimes, but I think it's all down to acceptance as well of your disability. Up until probably losing my sight altogether, I didn't 100% accept the fact that I was visually impaired or that I had a sight problem or that I was classed as disabled. I didn't want to accept it. I wanted to be just like everybody else and do everything everyone else did. So I really fought against it. And because of that, I didn't really get involved in the visually impaired community, in the sight loss community. Which I really truly regret now because it's such a great community and there's so much support, and I only wish that I'd have done it sooner so that I would have had that support when I was at university, when I was setting up my own business, and I've done it all myself, and I just wish that I'd have done that sooner. So once I lost my sight, I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to learn from others, and I think as well hearing Dave's poems really helped that because it kind of makes you feel like you're not alone and you're not the only one going through everything. So that's when I decided to get more involved in the sight loss community. I volunteer for Henshaws, which is the charity I mentioned.
Yeah, well, everyone knows Henshaws. Mark was on here last week. Mark Belcher as my special guest, and we talk about him all the time. In fact, for everyone that's out there who was on the call last week, we dropped the video, which I know you listened to, Nina, of my Insights video from the Insights series. But for those of you who, if you haven't done so yet, get onto the Henshaws YouTube page, and on that you will see Nina's video because Nina did
Yeah.
an insights video as well, which is amazing,
Yeah.
telling Nina's story.
So,
Yeah.
I'll
Nina,
check that out.
you touched on something that I encountered through email with someone I was interacting with, and I, thought it would be a good opportunity to collaborate with an individual who's living with sight loss. I didn't know much about their sight loss, and this person, I was communicating with this individual's wife, and they said it was fascinating because I've never experienced this before, but they said that their husband would not want to collaborate with us because he would not want to put or jeopardize his work, his career, if he would to share that he is living with sight loss. And, you mentioned, as far as that you wish that you would have gotten involved earlier on. And when I physically, saw this on Friday, I was a little taken aback. I was like, and of course I respect that decision, but I think at the end of the day, this person is, is it fair to say that this person's hurting themselves by not, living and being able to express how, what they're going through?
Barry, do you remember the poem that the poem I read a few weeks ago called "It's Not Too Soon"?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's not too soon.
I definitely do think that it's it is speaking from experience, and it is only my experience. So I can't put words into people's mouths, but speaking from my experience, I do wish that I'd have got involved and I seeked help sooner for sure. It is a lonely existence. Because like Dave said in the questions for today, how do people speak to you? What do they say? Do they ask questions? And I've had that all of my life on varied levels because I have had low vision. But instead of saying, if someone said to me, why are you holding that book so close? Or God, are you blind? Or something, like comments they make, instead of me going, well, yes, actually, I'm low vision. I can't see very well, and I'd be like, what are you talking about? And get a bit defensive and pretend that they didn't say it and not want to acknowledge it and brush it under the carpet a lot. So it's quite a lonely existence as well, when you're trying to just be like everybody else.
Yeah. I want to share a comment. Mindy shared through the chat or through the Q&A per se, whatever it is. Mindy, I want to read what Mindy shared with us. And she wrote as follows: when my sons were younger, we were asked why we were at a soccer game if they couldn't really see the game. And she continues on, she says, my oldest has a guide dog, and people often either offer to pray for him or offer to pay for his meal. My younger son's friend questioned his blindness because he can play sports really well, but he can't see up close due to Stargardt's. Yeah. And, these are, again, all part of misconceptions. And, just because you're living with sight loss, it's not mean you can't experience and live your life.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a big misconception.
Yeah, like the phone one is the best one as well for me. And again, going through different levels of vision, from having to hold the phone close to my face to then using the zoom on my phone. I use Apple, so using the zoom and having to like magnify. And then now I'm completely blind, I use voiceover. So then having to explain the voice to people, and I get a lot of, how can you understand that? It's so vast. Or what is it you're looking? You can't see. What is it you're looking at? And the best one I love doing is putting a screen curtain on the phone. So if you sat there with the screen curtain on with the phone in your hand and you swipe in, and they're like, your phone's not on. And I'm like, well, actually it is.
That's awesome. Right. That is awesome.
When you had your first support group meeting, and it was at this place in Manchester City Centre, and I got the tram into which is like a light railway system into town, and I had my guide dog Christopher with me, and I'm trying to find the building, and I've got my phone in one hand and my guide dog on the harness in the other hand, and I've got one eye on Google Maps, and I'm walking down the street, and people are just like looking at me going, what's going on? Do you know what I mean?
Is this for real?
But the more
Yeah.
people do that, the better. You know, me and B have spoke about before about
Yeah.
like, you know, people being so like for people who've got like some residual vision but need the cane in certain places like myself, where, you know, in busy crowded places or unfamiliar places you need your cane, but in familiar surroundings you could maybe walk at the side of someone and get around fairly safely. You know, just having that confidence to be able to kind of in front of people take your cane out and put it away when you don't need it. And
I think
if there was loads of people doing that, it'd become the norm.
Yeah.
And people wouldn't question it.
Speaking to people like yourselves and getting involved in groups like this or my group, I think that really helps people's confidence grow as well, which then enables people then to be confident in doing these things and answering questions and not getting kind of defensive, but being intuitive and going, well, yeah, okay, this is how I do it. Let me show you.
But you know what I loved about your group, Nina? That first one that I went to was you had quite a lot of your friends there, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got twin sisters. They were there, and then friends.
Yeah, so I thought it was really great having sighted people within the group as well.
Yeah.
So because I could see them listening to when people were talking and telling their stories and their feelings on certain things, of them going, oh yeah, I get that. You know what I mean? So, you know, I want to speak about this in future weeks on this group of getting, you know, of actually having special guests from outside the low vision community.
Yeah, because I think that's so important as well. That's kind of my mission in a way. I told Dave I'm maybe looking at writing a book. I'm not 100% decided yet, but I want to create awareness and education for the sighted world as much as I really love, and it helps me so much being involved in the sight loss world. I want the sighted world to take notice and to listen to how we achieve things, how we do things, how we cope with things. They need to learn as much as we do, if not more.
I know we're kind of pushed for time, Nina, so before we kind of let you go,
okay.
Thank you so much for joining us, Nina. Thank you so
Nina,
much.
I'd like to read you a poem if that's okay as well.
Yeah, sure.
I want to get in as many as I can tonight because I've got a few kind of lined up. This one kind of tells my story to a little bit and brings it on to sort of these days. And I'm sure, Ben, you're going to really relate to these words, and I know Nina will as well. I've never read this one online, so here we go. I remember how I felt on the day that I was told. My driving days were over. The doctor's diagnosis felt so cold. Support was somewhere out there, but I slipped right through the net. A system full of forms to fill plunged my family into debt. We spent 9 months in limbo. I battled with my own depressions. My only outlet, poetry, to tell my blind confessions. But as the words poured out my heart, I felt a change in me. Supporting others around the world, losing visual clarity. With every word that I wrote down, I built myself back up. No matter how much sight I lose, I'm never giving up. Just hearing the response from the blind community taught me that I'd be okay, despite all I can't see. It's been 6 years since I was told that I was going blind. And the more and more my tunnel shrinks, by this won't be confined. So every day I try to raise awareness with these words, so those who are going blind have their voices heard. Correct the misconceptions so no longer feel a fraud. Spend less time isolated, instead making memories to be stored. I'll tell this tale whilst my eyes fail and faces disappear. May soon be done with sight, but in my mind, my vision's clear.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Nina. I'm going to send you back out to I'm going to send you back out to a attendee. Be well.
Nice to meet you, Nina.
Nice to meet you. I look forward to having you on.
Bye-bye.
In the future.
B, can you give your thoughts there and just talk about Nina's story in the poem?
Ooh. Yeah. You know, the first thing I want to say is, like, with Nina, I wear these big sunglasses all the time. I have light perception problems, but I went blind in my left eye when I was a teenager, just barely able to save it. But I started bumping into things on a regular basis and nearly poking my eye out. And with my little tunnel, I don't know if this is something that happens to a lot of people, but I just want to tell you, yeah, that story really, it touched my heart in a way that I just want to tell you that. And I really care
We've
about
never
your
had this
story.
conversation, B, but I'm going to say to you now as well, and I know the answer to this already. Another reason that you wear those glasses is so no one will question it.
That was the other thing I was going to check in with you on. I have on my left eye, it's become very lazy. And I have to tell you, before I joined our community, I have to say I regret that I was embarrassed by it. And so people would question me about that. So I have one eye that does look blind, and then one eye that doesn't. And so people would
never knew that, by the way.
Yeah, you want to look right now?
Yeah, I'm getting that now. Amy said to me a few weeks ago that she's starting to notice that, like, my eyes started to not respond to certain movements and stuff like that. And it's, that stage.
So go ahead, you finish up. I want to bring on Orly because Orly has raised her hand. I want to bring on because we are running quickly out of time here. So finish up what you want to share.
I was going to say a quick check-in on about the confidence that you said to put away the cane. Or like identify that you can see. Speaking of Orly, we went out shopping recently to the Whole Foods. Shout out to Whole Foods and our personal shopper, Dylan. What's up? And, Orly, she's fully blind with some light perception, and I have a tunnel. And we were just lucky and blessed to have a personal shopper. It was very cool. And I felt so awkward. And how should I express to him? Like, hey, he brought us up to something. I'm like, oh, here's what you told, that's what we're looking for right there. Let me pull it off. What's it say? Oh, I can read it to you, but I'm blind. And I didn't know if I should let them know or not. And I didn't know if we deserve to have a personal shopper when I can still see. And I had all these qualms inside of myself. I cannot explain. But that's what I appreciate about our group here. That's what I appreciate about your poetry in particular. And that's why I appreciate mentors in our community. And when you said the courage to put away the white cane, the confidence to put away the white cane, I want to just check in there to make sure I highlight that, because it stuck out to me that there is a courageousness there for people in the loving community to, like, I don't know if you've ever faked total blindness, like, oh, hey, thanks for bringing me over to pasta sauce. Which one do you want? I'm looking right at the marinara. I know it's there, but I don't want to say, by the way, I can read.
100%. Well said.
Whoa. So I love that. And I want to read one thing to you. It's a tribute to you, my friend. You are the poet. These words were all yours just said, but they just came up to me. I wanted to write this down real quick. And this is how I describe our friendship, Dave. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Through my tunnel vision, I'm going to read this.
Okay.
We have a friendship forged. And this is just, we have a friendship, but this is the quote here. So friendship forged from silver linings. Friendship forged from silver linings, found from vision lost.
I love that.
Mhm.
Silver linings, absolutely. Always
Silver
looking for the
linings.
silver linings.
Take it away, Orly. Welcome.
Hi. Hey, Dave.
Ollie, how you doing? I love you, darling. How are you?
Oh,
All right?
I miss talking
I miss
to you. I
you.
wanted to let you know that I'm definitely not a poet, and I really know it. So that's okay.
It's so good to hear you.
Same here. Same here. I went through the last stages of having low vision growing up and through my teens, and had to go through that loss. It is grieving. I had to go through it probably in my early to mid 30s, where I had to stop using large print, CCTV, and it was a hard thing to accept and to go through. I will tell you that I get a lot of. I used to, when I was young, I would hide it or try to pretend it wasn't there. And when I had my ID cane on a city bus and I was in a new city moving, I would, one thing that stands out in my mind, and I've had various comments, different, but various comments that mean the same thing. I heard these two ladies, and I was standing holding the bar on the bus. These two ladies are chatting like they think I don't hear them, I suppose, initially. And they were saying, wow, she can't see. Her clothes match, her hair looks so good. And I've had comments like that many times. You cook how? You have children. No way. And I know people don't think about what they say as they're saying it. It's just their reaction. But I've gotten a lot of that over the years. And my eyes, even though I have no more vision at all, usable vision, my eyes don't, I've had people say, but your eyes don't look, you don't look blind. I get that a lot.
Yeah.
And people do have these misconceptions, and I've always been patient. I always educate and talk people through these questions, and I share my feedback and my experiences, because that's important. I don't get frustrated or angry, because that's just going to shut someone down, and when they meet the next person, you know, they'll shy away. So I've always been important about educating people, and a lot of people aren't aware. They just come to assumptions just by what they see, in the person.
The children one gets me though. A few years back, I went through a whole kind of legal battle for my daughter who lives with her mom in Scotland.
Yeah.
And we had like a hearing at a court, and my solicitor was absolutely dreadful. He was like a legal aid, like, you know, I didn't pay for him, and he was just the worst person you could have representing you. it was laughable. But in the meeting, it was said by my daughter's mum's solicitor that she was worried about how I would be able to look after my daughter being visually impaired, and worried about her safety, me being blind. And the judge, or the you know, the person that sits in there, who's the judge type person, don't know what it's called,
with one of those wigs and everything.
No, they didn't have the wig. It's not like high court. I wasn't in for murder.
Okay,
it's like it's family court.
I thought all the courts you care.
No, they only do that at the Crown Court. But yeah, the judge, you know, whoever it was in there, said, "Oh well, that's something that we need to look at in the future." And I cried for 2 days after that. I cried for 2 days, because I was like, "How dare they presume that just because someone has low vision or blindness that they can't look after a child?" I know so many people, blind parents around the world, who are amazing with their children and bring them up better than sighted people.
And what I'd like to add to that, what I tell people now, it did take me time not to take any of these comments or misperceptions personally, is I tell people that one of the examples is when my oldest son was 1.5, 2, I would go to these mother groups, and the mothers would socialize and chit chat in the living room, have the tea, and the kids would be running around and playing. And guess what? They're all focused on the conversation. I hear a couple of kids in the bathroom, washroom, whatever, restroom, and we're on the main floor. This is upstairs. I hear every sound, and they all have a visual input to me, like meaning. I would hear these kids, and they're playing in the damn toilet. And I'm saying, hey, and I knew one of them was my son. Hey, get out of the bathroom, out of the toilet. And the mothers were like, what do you mean? How do you know? And one ran, and they were shocked that I knew, because I was listening. I heard the sound, and they're all, you know, their kids can run wild. My kids never got away with anything, and they hated that. So we tune into all our other senses and pick up so much that people that are focused on vision through the eyes don't. People need to understand that. They need to understand that. And I think that's why I'm on a mission, one, to help people understand that through some of my initiatives that I want to work on. I am writing my memoir to help other people. And one of your participants said, you know, she's interested in writing a memoir to share or give people the insight. And a lot of people ask me, why am I willing to share a lot of my history? And it's the only way we're going to get people to open up and see that they're not alone.
You're 100% right, Orly. 100%.
Orly, listen, I just want to say, I want you to come back on a future call. I know you kind of came on at the end, but we need to hear from you more.
You're going to be hearing a lot more from Orly.
Yeah, I'm here. I
know you are. I know you are. And I wish I was there too.
Dave, when she was telling that story, about the boys playing in the toilet, I was a little nervous. She was talking about me
Uh-oh,
and Dave upstairs. I was like, oh no.
I want to do. I want to say this now. In a couple of weeks, not next week because we've got something planned for next week already.
I just
But-
before you say, I just want to jump in here. I'm sorry to cut you off there.
No, it's fine.
Mindy just came back wrote us, and I want to share this. And she wrote that my role as a sighted parent of 2 blind children is to educate the public due to all the misconceptions about blindness. And I want to, Mindy, I'm actually happy you wrote that.
Yes.
Because you must attend next week.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. You must.
Yeah, we've got a special guest next week, which we're not going to announce just now. We're going to save it surprise next week. But the week after, Ollie, if you're free, I would love to come on and kind of expand the conversation more and talk about, being a parent as a blind person or visually impaired person, because I think it's a subject we really need to sort of share about more. One of the things that really drives me to do everything I do is with my writing, as you know, and we've spoke about before, is to show my children, all the things that they can do and achieve despite any lack of sight in their eyes.
So we are coming to, wow, I can't believe what time it is. It's unbelievable how just time flies. So before Dave closes things out, I just want to say for the folks that are in the US, IRA, the assistive technology IRA, they started a beta campaign, if you want to call it, together with Starbucks. It's an incredible relationship that was recently forged. And there are a number of cities/Starbucks stores in the US now, including here in the Baltimore area, that are participating in this pilot program. And I want to encourage everyone to go out to a Starbucks. If you have IRA, don't have IRA, try it out and utilize the IRA service at Starbucks. I also want
no cost to you. Just got to
as far as the IRA aspect, there's no cost. But,
oh yeah.
Yes,
you got to pay for your own coffee.
But we are going to. This was actually discussed last night by my colleague Diane on the Sight Loss Support Group that we host. Diane, we are going to do a. It's not. Well, it's going to be virtual to some extent, but we want to create where we all go out as a group, and we're going to put out the cities and the locations that are part of this pilot program, and we are going to encourage everyone to go out, and we're going to give away, I don't know, maybe like 50 to 100 complimentary drinks at Starbucks when we participate in this virtual event. So I'm sorry, Dave, it's not happening in Manchester, but we can send you out.
If it pilots well in these 8 cities, UK is going to be next.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is going to be, and we got to be very clear. This is just, we love Starbucks, right?
Oh, yes.
Very love Starbucks. That's where Lanny D's Coffee Talk with Lanny D
That's where it
started. And Lanny D, my brother, dude, look at where we are today, man. And we're going to go back to Starbucks. We're going to have each of our podcasts knocking down microphones. That's a tunnel vision, brothers. I'm looking at you there, Dave, as I'm talking. My tunnel on you, but
we'll go there.
But here's the thing, though. Like, this is so cool because if you like Starbucks and if you're going blind, you can show up there and use IRA to explore the Starbucks. It'll be audio described to you. And this is a fan promotion. We're just fans.
Just fans.
There's no payment coming to us. I want to be very, very clear. We're super fans.
The only thing that's coming to us, maybe a few extra Starbucks rewards. That's about it.
Starbucks, shout out, but check it out. Straight up, this is a test thing. And if this goes well in the next 8 cities for the next 3 months, we could use IRA for free in Starbucks worldwide. It's entirely possible. Can you imagine that, Dave?
So you can just IRA, it's spelled AIRA.io. AIRA.io. I know a lot of people get a little confused by that. IRA. No, it's AIRA.io. Download the app. We're going to, I'll send out an email. We'll put out an email which Starbucks are participating in this pilot program. There are plenty of them out there. I think New York City, Seattle, Baltimore area, not the one right here by our office, but we're going to go to one and we're going to do a virtual get together and we're going to give away a lot of drinks and I'm super excited and we're going to make this a very cool event.
Sounds awesome.
And again, the way we're going to do it is that Lanny D is going to order you a drink, and it's going to come up from your barista in your location under Lanny D. So stay tuned for more of this.
Love that.
Yeah,
Love
that's right.
that.
Stay tuned. Stay
Love that.
tuned. And Dave, I want to have you, not Sedona Dave, but Sedona Dave, thank you for participating and being here as well. But I want Dave Steele, the blind poet, to please close it out. And yes, Mindy, yes, IHOP also works as well. That's very cool.
But
very cool.
Dave Steele, this is the last time we'll speak before I have seen, well, I might talk to you later today, but Borat 2 is coming out this weekend. So I just want to prepare you.
I know. Me too.
I'll have new
excited.
material. Are you excited?
I'm excited. Yeah, I can't wait for it. I was watching the trailer earlier. I actually went and got my beard done the other day, and they were playing Borat because they were talking about it in the barbers, and then afterwards they put on Bruno.
Oh, okay. I hope you got your
Which
haircut.
is like really way past the mark. But yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
all right, Dave,
listen.
take it away. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
Incredible afternoon, evening. Hope everyone enjoyed, and we look forward to seeing everyone next week with a special guest. But before you sign off, it's all yours, Dave.
Yeah, once again, a massive thank you. B, I want you to feel this one. I want you to understand where it comes from.
Well, one last thing, a special thank you to Charlie for assisting in
absolutely.
this setup
Thanks,
here.
Charlie, for coming on.
Charlie,
And everyone
thank
else,
you.
Nina and Orly, thank you so much. I'd relive the pains of yesterday a million times again to keep me on this journey living blind with poet's pen. The darkest days were all worthwhile, the years without a home. The moments I once cut my skin when all I was alone. But here I stand today, and though my armor's fairly scuffed, I know that I will be okay, for now today I'm loved. Although my sight is limited, my vision knows no bounds. My heart is pouring itself out through these poetic sounds. This life has shown me how to breathe whilst grieving for my sight. And though there's darkness in my eyes, I'm focused on the light. When I look back on battles lost, when I felt life was cursed, I see it gave me strength to face these things in which I'm versed. So as it dies, won't cut my ties. Instead, I'm chasing dreams. For tomorrow isn't scary, as yesterday it seemed. So if you are doubting whether you can cope with what's to come, just reminisce your yesterdays. Your heart is far from done.
Spot on, spot on. I want to apologize to Travis. Sorry we didn't get to you. God willing, next week. Shout out to our West Coast crew. Thank you very much. We love you. And again,
Allison's team Allison.
Team Allison, Team Allison. We notice you. We see you there. So thank you, Dave. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Orly, Sedona Dave, Charlie, and Nina, and everyone else, Lisa, everyone who participated tonight. Look forward to next week, and
tell a friend.
Yeah, tell a friend. Tell a friend. It's gonna be these hours go by so fast, and it's an incredible experience. I enjoy every minute. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Stay healthy, and we'll see you soon.
Love
Cheers.
you guys.
Cheers.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.